Good afternoon, everybody. This is Scott with Gigbuilder, Scott Rosano. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over a very complete setup for a basic company. What you're looking at here is an already set up and functioning Gigbuilder 6. If you were upgrading from 5 or you're experiencing Gigbuilder for the very first time, this is your opportunity here now to really set it up quickly and to kind of go through our nuances and how things work. And fortunately, everything that you got to work on is under tools and either system configuration or web tools. And we'll start with system configuration. The configuration issue here, we're going to go over a couple of items that basically need to be put together in order for Gigbuilder to function at its minimal level. We're going to start with availability and office hours. We're going to click on that. And this is giving us some options here. We've got in place, although it's not as of version 6.13, the capability for clients to be able to create their own appointments. And we've still got some work and some logic to put into place. It's not there yet, but some of that will be done here. But your hours of operation, it works on this particular calendar schedule. We have two sections, a time range 1 and a time range 2. A lot of people who are full-time run this business. This is what they do for a living. You've got straight office hours. Put them in right here, all of them. If you split them up, if on Monday you're open from 10 to 2 and 6 to 10, you can do that within the ranges as well. And the third option that you can do is you can just put the appointments in time range 2. So this is your office hours, but these are the only times that you're willing to schedule appointments on each day. So several different things in there. I would suggest starting out right now by setting up in all time ranges and just working your regular hours straight in here and straight in here. As we follow down here a little bit further, we're going to go into the booking engine and how Gigbuilder determines if you've got availability on a specific date. The simplest option is to configure by day of the week. This is how it worked basically in version 5 and is how it works in other competitive software products. It's also the easiest. If you know on Friday you can handle 3 jobs because that's what you normally have, you can just put 3 in there. On Thursday I can only do 1. I can do 5 on Saturday, generally speaking. We'll talk about the ambiances and things afterward. People getting time off, how to manage all that. This is basically all things considered. Basically, this is what I can do in a particular day, a particular week. The second way of doing it is to use available systems, and that is you actually create your various types of systems. It can be a DJ system, a photography system. A system can be just a thing. It doesn't really matter. It's Joe Blow DJ, and that's one system. And so you can set it up by that. So basically, if you've got subcontractors and your subcontractor can only work on a certain amount of days, it might be easier to book by inventory. But for this demonstration, we're going to basically configure by the day of the week. We're going to pick those certain numbers. Again, maybe 5 on Friday, maybe 5 on Saturday, and maybe 1 Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and none on Sunday and Monday. That's all we have for this particular section. So we go ahead and we can save this up, and we can work our way down to the very next option, and that's company information. This particular case here, again, these are things that define some things within Gigbuilder. I'll explain it a little bit later, but basically, what's your company name, what's your name, your admin name, whatever. Office address, this is basically your mailing address. So we can set these up with tokens and things like that. We're going to explain a little bit later, but fill it out to the best of your capability. Your country, your office phone, your fax phone if you still live in the 90s, and your time zone. This is extremely important. Make sure that you have this case. You should know all this. You should know whether or not you observe daylight savings time. Arizona, you don't. Parts of Indiana, you don't. Puerto Rico, you don't. A lot of people do. So you put that within your time zone and observe, and that helps when we're sending out messages that are time-based. They're all being sent out of our servers in Colorado, which is on Mountain Time. we need to know what your time is so we can adjust properly so that it gets out. So that's extremely important to have. Now, system notifications, your email name, that can be, a company like that, or it can be, your email name might be, my DJ company, my photography company, or whatever else it is. When you guys do emails, and I've got another video that is on our YouTube channel here. And again, if you guys haven't already checked the little boxes that you're supposed to check, the little ding ding bell, and please like our page because that helps us get out to more people. But all important to have there. So your email address that's the email address that is your company email. That's what's on your business card. That's what you tell people. Simple as I can do it. Gigbuilder email, it's built into Gigbuilder. Again, there's another video on this on our page that has this in extreme detail. Mobile phone, we have 1 and a 2, and you can also allow or not allow text messages to those phones. We really could probably remove these now. This is back at the time we pulled this over from version 5 when we were actually billed for text messages. It's been quite a while, so you may have a phone where you just don't want to have anything, so you can still turn it off. And the daily summary, we send you an email every morning letting you know what's going on. This email tells you what jobs you have today, what appointments you have today, what jobs you have tomorrow, what appointments you have tomorrow, what's upcoming, things that have come in. These are new events that you may not have seen. You need to have access to it. There's a lot of stuff that we put on there. So we can put a couple things. First of all, you can decide not to send it, which I would not suggest. Again, every morning in your inbox, you've got your list of everything to do. Any to-dos, tasks, everything are all right there in one email, and they're all clickable. So you get right to the point in Gigbuilder where you need to go. There's an option that also allows trending songs. Photographers probably aren't going to want this, but this will show the most requested songs within the last 2 weeks, and that keeps rotating. So these are the most requested wedding songs, whatever it's normally. It's whatever the thousands of people that use our system are about. Next section over here, we have our company image. Now, this is a logo that you can use throughout Gigbuilder, and you're going to see it in different places. But again, it helps customize it for your company. If you don't have a logo, we've got some generics. You can certainly pick one of those, or whatever else you want. You just click upload from here, and you drag or drop or upload the image. Pretty simple, like you'll see anywhere else, and you're good to go. Next, we're going to go over here in contact sites. Contact sites, these are most importantly your company website. We use this a lot in returns. When it finally says return to website, etc., it already knows to go to that site. What's your Facebook page? Twitter account, leave them blank if you don't have them. Your YouTube channel, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Pinterest, ignore it. It's going away. Google killed it. I just haven't removed it yet. So those are there, and it kind of explains to you how you need to put those in there. And this is used on a contact page when a client tries to get in, and some other things as well. So it's kind of nice to have. Insurance, who are you insured with? If you're insured with WeDJ.com, which is Mavon, and you should be. If you got Gigbuilder, you're in for an amazing option for insurance. Right around $300 a year, maybe a little higher in some cases. They insure everybody. All your subcontractors, your photo booths, whatever. Give Sherry a call. Just go to insurance.wedj.com if you're interested in that, and maybe I'll put down in the comments down here some of those links, so you'll just see those right down there. Okay. Next section down is email server and routing. Again, I had a full video on this. We're just going to leave this alone for the time being. You can go through the other video if you want to see how much better it works or how different it works. But basically, emails are going to come out of Gigbuilder to your clients, to yourself. They're going to come out with your name. They're going to be able to reply. It's going to reply to your email and in here. It's pretty simple. Again, we have another video on there that explains it in much more detail. Sales tax, there's not a whole places that use them. If you do, set it up and configure it. You may have fees, you may not. This tries to help out everybody. If you've got any questions on this, give us a call. Check out our forums on YouTube. Whatever it is that you would like to see on there. Next, further down, we have our SMS settings. And our SMS settings are are pretty neat because Gigbuilder is one of the very few systems out there which actually allows you. I'm trying to pull this live up so I get any comments. I'm still a little new on Gigbuilder. I'll just ignore it, not Gigbuilder, but YouTube. So we'll just stay alive now and figure that out later as far as those go. So your SMS settings. Um, we use a really cool service so that everything that we do SMS wise or text messaging wise, we're the only ones that do it. Is two-way. So when you send out a text message to a client or a resource or anything else like that, they can respond. And if that response is a system response, like they have to hit C to confirm for a meeting, um, the system handles it, and then it relays it to your own phone. So it kind of makes it like it's its own little instant messenger. So you send a text out to a client, that client responds. That response goes to your own cell phone. You reply it on your cell phone. It goes back through Gigbuilder. So they don't have that direct phone number. Everything is done directly through Gigbuilder. And there's a lot more that we do with SMS, automated messages. We do things with letting your clients add events, make requests. We use the SMS system for that quite a bit. This long code here is probably empty for yours, but you can buy one for $99 a year. And it's really not much more than we're paying for it, so it's not like we're trying to rip you off. And then you'll have your own long code in your own area code, and so and no one else will use it. And so that way, all text messages come from you. You can create your own keywords for response. So some really cool stuff. But for most people, basically wise, you will just leave that alone. So that's where we were on the first section. Now the second, or company information we went through. Now dashboard, that is what you see right here. All these widgets, and there's more coming. A lot of these are from version 5, but what you see on this screen here, okay, that is configured in Tools, System Configuration, and then Dashboard. Now on this section here, these reporting widgets are not working yet. They're still showing, but they're not showing on it. So if you set those and they're not showing up, at least as of 6.13, where's it over there? That's basically what the issue is. So basically, we go down through the calendar and the legacy controls. And so the calendar control, that is what you saw on the home page. It's a real simple one. It's color coded, whether there are appointments, events, or both. So you have a green for an event, a yellow for appointment, or a bluish color for both. It's also going to show your timeouts here as soon as we get some things done. So calendar control and all the rest of them, here's what you have here is two separate things. First of all is devices. Now Gigbuilder will work on the smallest mobile phone up to the largest possible screen you could imagine, and it reformats itself really nicely. And so it's all a matter of how you want to do it. But you may not want to have all those tools. On your mobile phone, you may just want to have the calendar, and you may not want to have anything else. So you can control that on determining what you want on this. The default is for all three. The calendar will always show, and will also show resources. Working our way down, these are event status widgets. Again, you need to go through these and take a look at which ones that you want. It's all the same thing on which devices, and then number of tasks or whatever else. That's how much it's going to show on the home page, and with a link to everything else. And I'll go back and show that for a second. So we can scroll through these, and you can pick web requests. That's what on your check availability calendar, which we'll get into on the web here in a few minutes. That happens to be one thing that you can do. Then you have leads, pursued, pending contract, booked event, post-production, recently accessed. All these items all have to do with the flow of your events and how you'd like to see them. And again, you can decide how many to see on each page and what device you want to see it on. Moving it down through appointments and blackouts. What blackouts do is that is where we kind of make some considerations and changes. If you say, for example, you have a DJ who says, I can work every single Saturday, but I can't work this Saturday, he'll create a time off request, and that'll show up as a blackout, and it'll knock his system or knock a number off if you choose to do that, so that you don't overbook yourself. And so we do that thing with tasks, approve time off, Change requests. This is when clients, they may want to make a change to a venue or something else like this. You want to be notified of it, but you certainly don't want to be just told automatically, oh, I just changed to a venue that's another 100 miles away. So, they're requests. E-signatures, these are, if you've decided to make some of your contracts and documents signable, and then the client signs it, they can show you which ones that you need to catch up on right then. And then miscellaneous controls, we have purchase manager. So if people have requested songs that are not in your library, it'll show that. And next actions show whatever you have set up for your next event. That's for another video, but we're gonna leave all that alone. Then you have legacy modifiers. If you also want to see the primary employee that happens to be on the event, you want to see the admin person, the second employee, the location, venue, whatever, you can pick that up. And the reason why we do this is we want to make the screen as clean as possible for you, unless you absolutely need to see this. You don't, but I'll show you in a second here. So we go from save. I'll go back to the home page. I'll take a look. There's my calendar. All right, this is what's going on today. Notice it's in blue because I have both a meeting and an event. And then we have, as we go down through here, if there's nothing, it just shows up nice and white and clean. Green means there are as much or less of the number you selected here. In other words, you're seeing everything that's out there. So in the pursued leads, there are only 2 in the whole system, so you're seeing them both. Whereas new web requests, these came in off the web, that's showing in red because I'm only telling it the system to show 5, but there's actually 10. So that simply lets me know at a moment, I've got a lot of attention that I need to take here because I've got more showing than I've got set up my default. So it's kind of a way for your head to just go right to it in the morning. I got a lot of web requests. I need to get into that. Everything else looks pretty quiet. Oh, look at all these recently modified. I've had recently modified is whenever a client goes in and makes a change, or you make a change to an event, it shows up. So that the next morning in your email, you'll see the recently modified. So you'll see over the last day and night, hey, these 5 or 6 events have been touched by somebody. You may want to take a look at them. So again, a lot of cool stuff that's on this dashboard that all came from our tools, from our system configuration, and from our dashboard setup. Now, defaults and options. This will do a couple things. First of all, if you've been at 5 or you're on 6 and it's too much and you want to go down to a little simpler version, you can always downgrade to 5 and re-upgrade whenever you'd like. However, 6, unlike 5, if we take a look here, all right. Yeah, I don't know how these things work. They never seem to work. On an iPhone, this is how you're going to look. Everything is responsive to whatever side it needs to be. So everything is really quite clean. Okay, so basically tools, and system config, and we'll go to defaults and options now. In a lot of these cases, you can edit them at the events, but there's some things I need to go through. Event deposits. Now your event deposit can be, we've got general settings for Gigbuilder, but they can be overridden. So if your deposits and things differ from event to event, you can do that as well. If you're pretty simple, like I used to be, I just used to take a $100 deposit. So sorry, it was whatever you guys want to do here. So you want a percentage of contract or fixed amount? Like for me, it would be this. It'd be $100. That's how much I would take. And then if I don't want the word deposit, I can use, non-refundable retainer. Whatever you want to use in there. It's totally up to you. That's what will show in different areas in Gigbuilder. When the deposit is asked for, it will use this wording instead. So that's how I would do it, but everybody's different. Gigbuilder is so flexible. So you could just, if you want a percentage of contract, maybe you just want 15% up front. All right. Do 15. I don't have to do a 15%. Oh yeah, 0.15 as I explained there. So that would be 15%, as that says there. And so 15% of the contract would be it. No big deal there. Now our overtime rate, if you have a detailed or default rate for that, again, we can change this by event, by package, but keeping it simple, this needs to be set up here. You can automatically set your contract dates, some other things like that. How many default days the contracts due. Once these are set up, it's great because if you require a contract back within 2 weeks, you set it right here. And then Gigbuilder will automatically remind you and your client, hey, you need to get this stuff done. So again, set these all up for what makes sense to your business. They are pretty self-explanatory at this point here. Default setup time. How much time do you need before an event? Again, this can be changed on package by package. If I'm bringing in the full package of everything I own, it's going to be a little bit more than 30 minutes. It's probably going to be more like a couple hours. So you can set that differently on the event, but we can set it specifically here so we have something to start with. Now we use this because when you're able to print out a basically your game day stuff, it will let your guy know, hey, you got to be there an hour early to set up. This many miles, you're going to have to be on the road at this time. So some neat stuff that gets put in here once you fill all this stuff out. So default event start time, again, that's just default. When they go to check a date online, check availability, that's in another video. That'll show as a default time and they can change it. So if you're finding more often than not that somebody is almost, a lot of things are starting at 4 o'clock. That seems to be a very, very popular time. Well, why not default it? Event duration. Well, I got a weird number here, but I would say 4 hours for me was pretty much the default. And same as yours. Duplicate event status. When you go to duplicate events, do you want to change the status to something different? That's for another video. You don't need that to set up Gigbuilder, so we'll scroll down. Now these drop-down boxes, all of these can be set up specifically inside Gigbuilder as you're going, and it'll just add it. But if there's things you need to add, like if there's specific referred by choices, any of these other items in here, it's one to align, and so you can start defaulting it here. This is important. Default event type would be a wedding reception, but it would be all your different events, and we're going to go over those in a few to check those out. Some global defaults. If your events, we're going to leave these blank. You can always come back to these. These are perfectly fine the way they are. But basically, if you open up an event, it opens up in a read mode first, and you have to click edit. Some people want it to go straight to edit, so you can change that. And then links. We send hybrid tiny links out to your clients and everybody else about all the events, and those can be time sensitive. So you can set up so that your links die after a certain time. You may want to do something in a promotional email and create a link that's good for 7 days. And for the next 7 days, if you book with us, you get this deal. And then after 7 days of there's a robot prospect may select for this wedding type. So create the order and what it is, it's some integrations necessarily either. So with what we've done so far, you should be